August 8, 1963, a Royal Mail train races through the British countryside, carrying $94 million in today's money. In exactly 47 minutes, it will vanish into the night, stolen by a gang who will pull off the impossible without firing a single shot. This is the true story of how 15 criminals hijacked an entire train and got away with it. Welcome to the Planetary File. Picture this: you're driving a train through complete darkness. Suddenly, a red signal flashes ahead. You slam the brakes. The train stops on a deserted track. Silence. Then, out of nowhere, masked men emerge from the bushes. Before you can react, they've taken control of your engine and are driving your train away. This actually happened. And what makes it even crazier, the robbers had been planning this heist for months, waiting for one perfect day when everything aligned. Let me introduce you to Bruce Reynolds, the mastermind behind this operation. Bruce wasn't your average criminal. He was a London gangster with connections throughout the underworld, but he had zero experience robbing trains. That's when he received a tip from an insider, a senior security officer from Britain's Royal Mail, whose identity remains a mystery to this day. This insider gave Bruce 3 pieces of critical information that would make this robbery possible. Tip number 1. The train from Glasgow to London has a special carriage called the HVP, High Value Packages. This carriage transports massive amounts of cash that people send via money orders between cities. Normally, it carries around $420,000. But here's where it gets interesting. Tip number 2. The previous week was a bank holiday weekend. Banks were closed, which meant people couldn't deposit money. All that cash had to be transported by train instead. On August 8, 1963, the HVP carriage would be carrying close to $4.2 million, 12 times the normal amount. Tip number 3, and this was the jackpot. The secure HVP carriages equipped with alarm systems were out of service that day. The railway had to use a reserve carriage, M3024M, which had no security system whatsoever. It was like Fort Knox leaving its vault door open wide. Bruce Reynolds knew he couldn't do this alone. He recruited a gang of 15 criminals, including the infamous South Coast Raiders, a group that actually had experience robbing trains. For months, they planned every detail, studying train schedules, mapping escape routes, and rehearsing their roles. They weren't just planning to rob a train, they were planning to steal it. August 7, 1963, 6:50 p.m. The train departs Glasgow Central Station with 72 postal staff on board. Its destination, London's Euston Railway Station, arriving at 4 a.m. the next morning. This wasn't a passenger train, it was a mobile post office designed to sort and deliver mail without stopping. As it passed through stations, staff would catch mail bags with nets and throw off bags for that station, all while the train kept moving. At Cheddington Railway Station, something crucial happened. The HVP carriage, packed with $3.6 million in cash, was attached to the train right behind the engine, second in line. The carriage contained 128 sacks stuffed with banknotes, weighing approximately 2.5 tons total. Now the train is rolling through the darkness. Driver Jack Mills, 58 years old, is at the controls, speeding towards London. He has no idea that 15 men are waiting in the bushes ahead, watching his headlights approach. 3 a.m., August 8, 1963, Sears Crossing. One of the robbers climbs the signal pole and makes a simple but brilliant modification. He covers the green light with a glove and uses a battery to activate the red signal. Then they all hide and wait. When Jack Mills sees the red light, he's immediately suspicious. Trains never stop at this crossing, especially Royal Mail trains, but he has no choice. He applies the brakes and brings the train to a complete stop. The assistant driver, also called the second man, jumps off to use the line-side telephone and contact the signalman. When he picks up the phone, he finds the line cut. Before he can react, the robbers grab him from behind. Simultaneously, other team members climb onto both sides of the engine. Jack Mills tries to resist. One robber swings an iron bar, striking him on the head. Jack Mills collapses, unconscious in the driver's seat. While this chaos unfolds in the engine, other team members rush to the coupling between the second and third carriages. They detach the front two carriages from the rest of the train, leaving the remaining carriages abandoned on the track. Here's where the plan hits its first snag. The robbers brought along a retired train driver to move the engine, but when he sees the modern controls, he panics. He's never operated this type of engine before and doesn't know how to drive it. The gang is forced to wake up Jack Mills and threaten him at gunpoint to drive the train 1 kilometer to Bridego Bridge, where their truck is waiting. Meanwhile, the postal workers in the abandoned carriages have no idea what's happening. They assume it's just a routine stop. Now the engine and 2 carriages crawl forward and stop at Bridego Bridge. The robbers smash open the HVP carriage door and burst inside. 5 postal workers are inside, and the gang quickly subdues them, tying them face down with ropes. Now they have exactly 15 minutes before the alarm is raised. The train sits on the bridge. Below, on the road, their Austin Lodestar truck waits. The robbers form a human chain, passing the heavy sacks one by one from the carriage to the truck. Each sack weighs roughly 20 kilograms total. They're racing against time, sweat pouring despite the cool night air. They manage to load 120 out of 128 sacks before time runs out. 8 sacks are left behind. As they prepare to leave, one robber makes a critical mistake. He leans over the tied-up postal workers and says, "Don't move for 30 minutes or you'll be killed." This single sentence will later help police narrow their search radius and ultimately lead to their capture. The robbers pile into 2 Land Rovers, both fitted with identical fake license plates BMG 757A, to confuse witnesses. The truck, loaded with $3.6 million, follows behind. They drive through the darkness, listening to police communications on a VHF radio. About 45 minutes later, around 4:30 a.m., they arrive at their hideout, Leather Slade Farm, located 43 kilometers from the crime scene, near a village called Oakley. They chose this location specifically because it was remote and abandoned. They had rented it 3 months earlier under fake names. Inside the farmhouse, the celebration begins. They crack open bottles, count the money, and play Monopoly using real stolen banknotes. The atmosphere is euphoric. They've just pulled off the heist of the century. Then the radio crackles. Police are searching within 50 kilometers. The celebration stops cold. How did the police know to search that specific area? Remember that robber who told the postal worker to wait 30 minutes? Police did the math. 30 minutes of travel at highway speed equals roughly 50 kilometers. The net is closing. Panic sets in. Their original plan was to stay at the farmhouse until Sunday, then disperse quietly. Now they have to leave immediately. On Thursday, they hastily divide the money. Each person receives approximately $210,000, equivalent to $5.5 million in today's money. The smaller helpers get lesser amounts. Before fleeing on Friday, they frantically wipe down every surface for fingerprints. They assigned one person the crucial task of burning down the farmhouse after everyone leaves, to destroy all evidence. He takes his share of the money and agrees. But when the time comes, he flees without setting the fire. The farmhouse stands intact, filled with evidence. Meanwhile, police helicopters circle over Buckinghamshire. Roadblocks appear on every major highway. The media erupts with news of the robbery. Police announce a $14,000 reward for information, an astronomical sum in 1963. A local farmer who lives near Leatherslade Farm notices unusual activity on the morning of August 8th. Multiple vehicles, strangers coming and going, lights at odd hours. When he sees the reward announcement, he contacts police. Officers raid the farmhouse and find a treasure trove of evidence. Empty mail sacks with Royal Mail markings, the Austin Lodestar truck hastily repainted yellow, railway equipment, food wrappers, and, crucially, a Monopoly game. The robbers had wiped fingerprints from almost everything, but in their drunken celebration, they forgot about the Monopoly money and game board. Multiple clear fingerprints remained on the playing cards and cash. Since most gang members had prior criminal records, their fingerprints were already in police files. Within days, detectives matched the prints from the farmhouse to known criminals. The identities were revealed. The arrests came swiftly. Within weeks, police captured 14 out of 16 gang members. Only 2 escaped. The first was the replacement train driver who panicked at the controls. Nobody ever learned his real identity. The second was the Royal Mail insider who provided the tips. His identity remains unknown to this day. He never revealed himself and vanished without a trace. The trial became a media sensation. The judge called it the crime of the century and sentenced most gang members to 30 years in prison, an unprecedented sentence that shocked the nation. After this robbery, Bridego Bridge was informally renamed Robbers Bridge, a name that persists today. But the human cost was tragic. Jack Mills, the 58-year-old train driver who was struck on the head, suffered permanent brain damage from the iron bar. He never worked as a driver again. The trauma haunted him for the rest of his life. 7 years after the robbery, in 1970, Jack Mills died. His family always believed the head injury contributed to his early death. The Great Train Robbery changed British law enforcement forever. Police upgraded their radio systems, improved coordination between departments, and developed new forensic techniques. The robbery also led to tighter security for cash transport and better alarm systems on trains. As for the money, most of it was never recovered. Police found approximately $560,000, but over $2.8 million vanished and remains missing to this day. Some gang members who escaped prison briefly became folk heroes, appearing in tabloids and living lavish lifestyles until they were recaptured. A few died before serving their full sentences. Others lived quiet lives after release, never touching their hidden shares. The Great Train Robbery remains the most famous heist in British history, a perfect storm of insider information, meticulous planning, and sheer audacity. 15 criminals hijacked an entire train, stole millions, and escaped into the night. It was the crime of the century, executed without firing a single shot. This is the Planetary File. If you found this story as gripping as we did, hit that like button and share it with someone who loves true crime. Drop a comment below telling us what famous heist we should cover next. And subscribe, because we're diving into more incredible true stories you won't believe actually happened. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.